Hi, Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Well, folks, it's relatively early for me on a Saturday morning post practice, and as the sun gets super bright in my eyes, I thought I'd shoot a quick video highlighting one of my live steel swords. I might do more of these if people are interested in my rather limited but oddly eclectic swords bought on a budget collection. And I'm going to start with one my wife gave me. I'm starting with this because I have not seen anything really like this other than this piece. And anybody with more information on it, I'd love to know more about it. So, I might be using you guys kind of as an Antiques Roadshow. Obviously, this may not be the highest quality example of a weapon, but the design intrigues me, and I think with a slightly better execution, it could be a phenomenal sidearm. And I just really like it. And it's this. I'm not even sure what to classify it. It looks like it's trying to be a short sword. It's trying to be, it's rigged. Let me see if I can get like a rapier, and it handles. It's very interesting. The tang threads. This whole hilt and pommel looking assembly is actually one piece, but it threads right into the blade, and there's room for a double finger keyhole under this really unique quasi saber guard. It obviously needs to be oiled and could use some love. It's been tucked away in storage, but the blade is ornate, so I assume it's obviously a decorator piece. And it says Toledo. I don't know if you can see it, but what I like about this one, obviously it's phenomenally light. The blade length fits my arm perfectly, so it is about perfect for a short arm or secondary sword, except it reveals some things in that the guard is cantered to the right, so it's definitely meant to be a primary weapon. This is intriguing to me. It has both a wrap guard, it has a cup hilt, but the bell of it is extended along the knuckle duster. Has very limited but oddly effective feeling quillions. It's a very strange weapon, and I would love to know more about the history. So I'm putting this up for you guys to discuss. Double Edge. This is something I've been trying to find in practice form for a long time. Now, longtime viewers know that I submitted changes in the design of the Venetian to Purple Heart, which became the Italian tactical side sword. And a lot of it was off of what I like in rapiers and side swords. But I still have not found. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is a spadroon with delusions of grandeur, or if it's because obviously it has a cross piece, so it's not a spadroon. It's really not a small sword, though it has elements of it. It's a really fascinating little weapon. And while it's not by construction, it's not bad. I mean, there's good flex to it. I mean, it's not at all sharp. It's very old, and like I said, it could use some restoration. But if anybody has information on this weapon, I would really love to know about, because this is something I've been chasing as a practical training, something that feels like this, because it's extraordinarily light. And with, my wrist is still held together by elastic. So I tend to favor a lighter weapon in my right arm. Wow, the sun is just cooking me right now. But, said the blade's about, I want to say 25 inches long. I'll have to measure it. I'll write it up later. Yeah, 25. Mine seems 30, so I know this is between 24 and 25 inches. Uh, it's an intriguing weapon, and I thought you guys would like to see it. If you want to see more of the weapons I have, many of them have unique stories. This was given to me by my wife, and honestly, if I were going through the portal campaign, I would love this because this is a sword short enough one can use it indoors very comfortably, but still use very rapierish techniques. I can. You have to understand, I'm 5'8" on my long leg, 5'7.5" on the short leg, so I'm not a big guy. I favor gigante, which is a very low kind of back style. If you go through, many people like, Fiore, or they like Fabris, where they're way leaned in. I prefer gigante or something from the more Spanish traditions because, frankly, with the way my back works, it's more comfortable for me to be upright, balanced, and centered. Very much my approach on fighting is being centered. So, still relatively low. This is almost perfect in that it blocks nearly my whole leg but does not drag. So even if I'm at a partial lunge, where I'm at my absolute lowest, let me see if I can get back. This length is nearly perfect for me as a sword. And yes, it speaks a bit to my hobbitdom, but it also, you should look to weapons that actually fit your scale. It's just the other reason I wanted to shoot a video. I'm a big fan. I think anybody who goes on YouTube is and looks at swords, you're going to look at certain channels. You just end up to them. You end up at Matt Easton, Scholar Gladiatoria. You end up at Shadversity. You end up at the Metatron, and you end up with Skullgrim. Despite what anyone has to say about any of these four, and we'll throw Lindy Beige in there, but he strays more into, he's farther off topic. So these erstwhiles, and many of them talk about context, but what I've noticed is most people who study swords are 6 foot tall, and they study styles that facilitate being 6 foot tall. And I think the context that people lose when they're studying martial weapons is the adjustability to scale to yourself. And the only time you really find these things being brought up is actually in discussions of fantasy races, because then people start talking about terms. Well, if you're a halfling, you should fight with these weapons, and if you're a giant, you should fight with these. Not realizing, literally, the dwarf to giant line is almost walked. When I was actively fencing, we had people who were, chin high on me, very, very short, and I actually had to fence a guy who was nearly 7 foot tall. I'm fighting weapons that are the rapiers that are almost as long as I'm tall in some cases. And whereas the weapon I fought with was a 34-inch Schlager, very old style, a little short surprisingly, but it worked well with my body mechanics. I would constantly get, why aren't you running a 43 Hanwei? Why aren't you running these long swords? Because it doesn't fit the body mechanics. You have to pick weapons that fit your body. It has to be to scale. So I'm going to be talking about that a lot in future videos. I want to get to, when I'm talking about the manual, I've highlighted the basics a few times, and I have a surprise for you guys coming out that I put up for my Patreon patrons for a while, and it was something I did. So that's coming as a thank you, actually, both to my Patreon supporters and the people who support me offline. I have a really good core group right now. The regulars you see, people like Jim and Trey, Stephanie, Bob when he comes out, although I don't talk about him much at his request. Now I have a yellow jacket. But, anyway, no, I'm not going to hit the yellow jacket with the sword. I'm sure that's going to show up in the comments. Some good things are coming, and I'm sorry, I got off trail. I like to talk tangentially. Few future videos, I'm going to talk about not just the style, because you see the style I teach. I want to start talking about assessing your opponent and getting a sort of cliff notes on how they fight so you can adjust how you fight to survive better. So that's coming down the pipe. That hopefully will be a little series depending on who I can get to be the opponent, because I'm going to need people that I know with specific fighting styles to talk about how to deal with people with said fighting styles. I hope you find it educational. I hope you find it interesting. Hope you like the sword. If you are interested in that series of assessing your opponent, comment. If you want me to do more lifesteal videos, this sort of became a hybrid, but comment on that too. I want my channel to serve the community. So that means if you are watching this and you enjoy what I do, if you come out to practices, I always tell my people, please watch the videos of yourself fighting. It's not about, hey, cool, I feel good. It's about realizing, wow, my low line guard isn't there, or wow, I'm doing something extra, or hey, that worked for me, I need to do that more. Okay? And for the people learning, tape yourselves. You don't have to share it on YouTube, I understand that. But analyze. I'm getting off topic, so I'm just going to stop this train wreck of a rambling video. Thank you. If you want to support me, I do, look in the links. My books are in the links, my Patreon's in the links. Obviously, YouTube doesn't give me anything, so I don't charge my students. I try not to charge people. So anything you could share is appreciated. And as always, support your local sword master.